Well, here we are.
Welcome back to
Friends with Cars, F1 edition.
That's right.
F1 Talk. F1 Talk. What the hell is going on? Where you been?
You know.
I checked the record. I checked the videos. Jessica hasn't joined the podcast since Hungary last year.
I'm disappointed in your life choices, but also, were you checking out my hat just now?
Yeah, it's a nice hat.
Nice hat, isn't it?
Nice
Yeah.
hat.
I would say it's a fitting hat, but they didn't.
We got the shoe. We got the shoey. We got the
Look at you
shoey.
guys with your new
gear.
The new merch.
Austin Martin.
Good stuff.
Speaking of that, I changed one of my. Oh wait, can you see my fantasy?
I cannot see your fantasy
Okay,
picks
never mind.
because it'll be an unfair advantage.
Got it. Yeah.
However, I already switched mine.
You did?
So
Okay. So
if you
did I.
told me, it doesn't matter because I've already switched mine.
Well, I switched because I originally chose McLaren. Obviously, I
Yeah,
didn't
that's a
score any
mistake.
points.
Traitor.
So I went to Austin Martin
Fuck
because
McLaren.
That is a traitor.
They did really good.
That is a treacherous.
There you go.
Traitorous.
You having a stroke?
That is a backstabbing to McLaren. Treason. That's what I was thinking. Treason.
All of it is
That
you're
is a-
sleeping outside in the
That
yard.
is a backstab to McLaren. Listen, the reason I'm wearing my McLaren hat is because, first of all, it's a very nice hat. Thank you guys. I love it.
yeah.
But I'm wearing it because it's kind of like an homage, if you will, to the death of McLaren based on the first race performance.
You know, I think if there is a God,
We have an audience member who agrees.
I believe if there is a God, they are a Daniel Ricciardo fan. As am I. Thank you, Lord.
This is
Thank
true.
you, Jesus.
This is true. Yeah, only time will tell if Piastri was the right choice, but McLaren, I don't know.
I mean, it's in the name, Piastri. He's going to drive like ass, and I don't feel bad.
We finally got to watching the Drive to Survive episode with Oscar Piastri, and they put their eggs in one basket, right? They did a lot to get. Holy moly, mama, stop! They did a lot to get him on the team, and they almost went through a lawsuit to get him.
Did you know, I mean, to sidetrack from McLaren for a minute, did you know Nick DeVries is 28 years old? I thought that was a child.
You know what? He doesn't look 28 years old. I'm kind of surprised to learn that he's 28. I'm calling him Nick Debris because he's going to leave some debris on the track.
That's fair.
I feel.
Yeah.
I want him to succeed, but you know what? These teams get excited, and he had one good race. You know who else had one good race the entire time he drove? Schumacher. He had one good race, and everybody was like, "Oh, this guy's great. He should
Baby
have baby Schumacher. He should have a seat." Well, guess what?
He got one.
He got one.
And you know what?
It's right next to Toto in the garage.
Right next to Toto, where he can see him. He's like, "Sit right in my lap, right here, and you shut your mouth."
He grabs him by the nostrils and says, "Look at this. You're not going to cost me that much money, I swear to God."
And if something were to happen to Hamilton,
Don't say that.
he would not be racing for Hamilton. They'll probably call Daniel Ricciardo to drive the car. Kind of like when they had who was the reserve driver when they pulled George from Williams
I don't know.
to drive. That was the most savage thing, Mercedes can do.
It was Nick DeVries.
Yeah.
So Nick DeVries was the reserve driver.
Yeah. And they said no.
Yeah, Hamilton goes down and they're like, "Yeah, let's get Russell. Like he's got a car, he's got a seat. I'm the reserve driver." He's like, "Yeah, he doesn't fit in the car, but let's get Russell."
Well, and so going back to McLaren specifically, I don't know if you guys, when we were talking about Drive to Survive, I feel like them picking him up was such a publicity stunt because in all the other seasons of Drive to Survive, they never interview the reserve drivers and they never put anything like that in. If this isn't all for the cameras, why did they interview him or have anything to do with him?
This is true. I think Formula One is entering a different era. I think now the commercial portion of Formula One, it's so much bigger now. And I think, listen, I hate Verstappen, but his whole point was like, the Netflix series is making up shit.
Yeah.
Which they were. And so that's supposed to be better in changing that, which I'm a fan of because they didn't have to do that. Formula One is already savage as it is.
They don't need
They
drama.
don't need to make it more dramatic. It is dramatic as it was already. So I would agree with you. I think the teams know that, and I think they're trying to make moves that is going to help them maybe get more sponsors or get more visibility. And yeah, the whole Piastri thing was a fiasco. Piastri fiasco.
Yeah,
You'll
get there.
Yeah, I'll get there. I have not been drinking, by the way. This is the first one, so I don't know. Cheers. Cheers.
This is my second glass of wine, but
Rebels.
I didn't drink for a long time, so.
Yes. Yes. I'd just like to say it's really nice to be back. Well, especially have the three of us back.
Of course, yes.
The season is going to be really good. I think just based off of this last race, everyone's going to be closer. I don't want to say
Wow.
all very close. I think Jessica's gripe last year was that they had the change in regulations, the change in designs, and they still had the same top three teams.
Yeah.
And I can see that again going for this year, but I think what's going to be different is the Austin Martins are going to be in contention for
Yeah,
this season.
that was a really good.
They had a lot of pace this last race, and with Fernando Alonso being back on the podium. Actually, since we've been watching Formula One, we've never seen him on the podium.
No, I think this is the first one in 10 years.
I think Noel the first one in 10 years.
Yes. Okay.
But I think the first season we started watching Formula One is when he retired. No. Yeah, when he
Yeah,
retired.
it was
Yeah.
the last race. Yeah, we saw that.
So interesting enough, it's funny to see him all the way back driving again.
He's back and he's back on the podium.
And on the podium.
I forget. It's not verbatim, but I forget that he's 42 years old.
That's an old man right
And-
there.
Not old in regular day standards, but 42 years old for a Formula One driver. That's
But if you think about it, I mean, you think about going to like when they were racing in like the 50s and 60s, like they were old back then.
yeah.
You know, you make a good point because you will think that the technology in the vehicles this time around would allow for older drivers to be able to do better. I mean, back then, which I think was probably the pinnacle of Formula One, is there's no power steering. I mean, we saw the videos, right?
Yeah.
Drivers would get out of the car, couldn't even lift the trophy because their arms were dead. And I think Nick DeVries had that problem when he first raced, when he was like, I can't even get out of the car. Can I get some help? I think that was what the drivers experienced pretty much every race. So now with technology, yeah, I mean, I can see Hamilton driving till he's 50.
Well, I actually watched a video of him today. He took a lie detector test. And in the lie detector test, they asked him, like, are you going to race until you win your 8th title? And he said yes and passed the lie detector test.
Oh.
So I don't know if he's going anywhere.
I'm sure he saw Alonso on the podium and he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I can do it.
I could do this.
Yeah, I think I'm hopeful that the middle field is going to be a little more contested this time around. I was glad to see that Gasly made it up there. Bottas was still up there. So I think, being the first race, it was a little tricky, but the speed and the qualifier, it told a pretty big story. And I think we might be able to see a middle field more contested top. Yeah, you're right. I think we're going to have the same teams on the top, provided Ferrari can keep from blowing up cars.
Right.
I think it's going to be the same. Mattia, which is in his winery,
Yeah.
having some wine, looking at the race and going like, I guess we know it wasn't me.
His winery is massive.
It is massive, but he pushed the button. He turned the car off.
Yeah,
He said,
he must have.
It would be shame if the car just stopped.
And right before the race ended.
Speaking of Ferrari, though, obviously you bring it up because of the DNF, but the heartbreak in RJ's voice. All I remember, he said, "Oh no!"
Like a little kid.
You guys remember RJ from one of our podcasts? He joined us for it. He's become quite the Ferrari fan.
He
I don't-
likes.
I don't know how that happened.
He's a masochist.
He likes the heartbreak.
Yeah, no, he's a masochist. You're right. I don't know how he got into Ferrari right away, and he's just a Ferrari fan. But yeah,
Every group needs one.
it was nice.
To make fun of.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was nice having him here for the race, and listening to his heartbreak. It's enjoyable as a fan that he's all into it, and it's enjoyable that it was Ferrari.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk. I was going for McLaren, although I did wear my Bottas hat that day, and Bottas did deliver for me.
Oh, you were going for McLaren that day or last race?
Well, I had both hats ready,
That's right.
so
So whoever was doing.
Did you
better.
have McLaren as one of your choices for the fantasy?
Yes, I
league?
did. Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
So I had both of them. So actually, interesting enough, I did not have Alfa Romero on my fantasy, but I was rooting for Bottas. So I wore the Bottas hat for the race, and I chose the right hat because he did well.
Right.
McLaren didn't, but that's why I'm wearing it today because it's an homage to their death on the track.
I am just so happy to see it. I just have never been. Tickle me pink that those cars did terrible today.
You're just salty because Ricardo's not there.
I know.
Listen, your boy Ricardo got some money,
You got to.
Yeah, you got to check for doing shit.
Yeah. So,
and he's working at Red Bull.
Oh, that's right. He's the reserve driver for Red Bull.
So he's probably getting paid at Red Bull.
Yeah.
On top of getting paid.
not having to do anything.
And not having to do shit. He's gonna get to Texas. He's actually gonna eat the barbecue, ride the horse. He's probably gonna write a country song. He's gonna write a country song and play the national anthem at the beginning of the race.
Yeah.
Do you think he's at every race weekend as a reserve driver, or is he
so.
just a call?
Yeah, he was there. He was
he there?
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
I saw him on the preview of the race.
Got it.
Again, I think he was there.
Yeah, no, we love it. I love to see it, but I also love to watch the world burn. So let there be.
Did you have some points? Sorry, we were just kind of went off.
Oh, no. I kind of like just the random talking.
I would say one thing that I do want to bring up is our Lord and Savior, Lance Stroll.
That's what I put here.
Is that Lance? Oh, good. Is that what you put in there?
Yeah, stroll bike crash.
Oh, the bike crash.
Not to make fun of him because he probably had a serious accident.
Well,
But if he can't ride a bike,
you're gonna put him in an F1
you gotta put an F1 car.
Yeah.
I mean, we all thought it, right? I think I sent you guys the clip where they ask him about it, and I called him a drama bitch because he's not good enough to be a drama queen. So he's a drama bitch, maybe a drama wench if you want to censor it, but drama bitch.
That's nice.
But he was saying, laying in the hospital bed, unable to move.
Playing this shit like he's Nicky Lauda himself. He's like, I was laying in my hospital bed. Shut up.
What?
Shut up.
Unable to move?
Kubitz's hand doesn't work, and he's the one complaining.
He had wrist surgery.
Yeah.
He was probably doing this in the off season. For those of you that can't see this, I'm simulating masturbation with my left hand. He's probably doing that, and he probably dislocated a bone because he went a little too hard on it.
Yeah.
And we try to find it, of course. And that's why he had surgery. But unable to move on a bit. Come on.
And at the end, he's like, I just wanted to say thank you to my medical team because without them, none of this would be possible. You mean daddy's money?
The worst part of that injury, and the worst part of this whole thing, Lord Voldemort, aka Alonso, came over, gave him a kiss on the cheek, and was like, "You're so wonderful.
You're my hero."
You're my hero." How much are they paying him?
Brando?
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him kiss anybody's ass that hard.
Yeah.
Right. No, he's playing it. I don't know what's going on, but he is dick right into the max.
Was that after the race?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Right after he said he couldn't move in the bed, and he came over. Come on, really?
Yeah.
And even on the when they introduced the car, and all, he kept talking about, "Oh, I see this kid as a world champion." Are you fucking kidding me?
That's funny he says that, though, because it's funny that Fernando didn't realize that Lance was the one that rear-ended him or hit him from the rear in the first.
And they didn't really wouldn't
And
tell
they
him
didn't
either.
mention it.
Yeah.
They didn't mention it to him. He was really pushing for someone to get
Yeah,
someone to
he
get a
was
penalty.
And Fernando wouldn't have censored himself, but they probably told him as soon as he got out of the car, "Hey, by the way, it was Lance. Don't make a big deal out of it."
Yeah.
So then he had to calm down before they interviewed him, and then probably was like, "Well, things happen." I'm like, "No, not the Fernando I know.
Yeah, I don't know
The
what.
Fernando I know paid the mechanics cash to help him out and fuck his teammate." All right?
He's a clone. He's got to be a
Come
clone.
on,
There's
yeah.
no way.
Can a driver get a penalty for a collision with their own teammate? Like, can the team? Can the team say no? We it's like football. Like like they can reject the penalty.
You know what? I want to say it's happened
Okay.
where they have given the penalty because I think what the FIA does is it's a matter of safety, not necessarily. I guess they punish based on them not being safe.
Right.
So I think they would get a penalty, and I want to say that it happened. I want to say this happened when Max and Ricardo were battling one time.
Is
I'll
that
have
the
to go
one
back
from
and double
Azerbaijan when they rear-ended each
I
other?
believe that might have been it. I think someone got a great penalty for that.
Yeah.
So we'll have to double check on that.
Yeah. Fact check that.
But I think I think they should. I mean, if it's a
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of penalties, you guys want to talk about Ocon's penalty?
Oh gosh.
nobody was having a worse day.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about he's never driven Formula One without saying you've never driven Formula One. My goodness. Back to back to back to back, all in regards to one specific scenario.
I think his comment was, "In my time driving, I've never." And it's like, well, there's a first for
There's a
everything.
first for everything. You happen to get all of them in one
Right.
race.
You did all wrong. Wrong from the get-go.
It was like when you, I mean, not me,
Dumpster fire.
not me, of course, but when you're in a relationship and you mess up, and then you go to apologize, and you buy her flowers, but she's got allergies. So then your apology was like, "Ooh, wasn't that good? Gonna have to redo it." It's like, okay. Sorry. I got you some gluten-free cookies, and she loves gluten. I mean, it was like he was trying.
He did his very best.
He was trying. I would say though, the not serving the time properly was not his fault.
That's not his fault.
That was the
that's
team
the team's fault.
messed it up. The fact that he drove too fast on the pit lane, though.
Don't they have like a specific setting for the pit
there's a
lane?
limiter.
So
Yeah.
how does that even happen?
He entered the pit too hot and entered it. Just,
Probably didn't hit the limiter button at the same time. So
Yeah.
you know,
Wow. Imagine he's like, no, I got it, guys. Wow.
he didn't have it.
yeah, but the fact that they didn't serve the 5-second penalty correctly, they gave him a 10-second penalty after that.
And then the 15-second penalty for
Or 5 seconds.
It was another 5
another 5 seconds to drive it too fast. I thought it was 30 seconds altogether.
No, I think it was 50. I think it was 20 together.
Or
5,
something
10.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it was.
A lot of second penalties in one race for one driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Have we experienced that before or watched that before?
And that's the first time I've seen someone get that many penalties that I can recall.
but it was like back to back.
You know what? No, I have seen someone get more penalties. It was James. It was
You can get 30 a 30-second penalty in the Formula One game before you get disqualified. Just so you know.
Oh, you
At
got
that point, they're
I
like,
know.
listen,
You got DQ.
I got DQ'd. Yeah.
they were like, listen, we tried. We talked it over.
You don't know how to help this guy.
We shouldn't be driving. So yeah, that was the first time I've seen that. So it was exciting. I would say though, I was very excited about Gasly. At first, I wanted Gasly to not do well because you leave a team because you want a better team, and then you end up in the last place. You're like, oh man, I guess that sucked for you.
But he made up like
But
10 faces.
he finished in the points. He finished
Yeah.
ninth place,
Oh,
ninth
11th.
place, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
So that was really good. I guess he's a good driver. I guess the carb was working out pretty good for him. So good for that.
Yeah, good. I mean, I have no feeling towards him. He's one of the drivers that I just don't care about. Like, until he does something like crazy, I don't care.
I was disappointed in my boy Nico.
Me too.
Yeah, that's
I chose him for fantasy league.
He was doing so well in practice. He was doing well in qualifier. I had high hopes, and it didn't work out. I'm hoping that was just a fluke for this week. He did have some damage from the beginning. He was hit, so he lost a little bit of time on that. So I'm going to chalk it up to that, give him the benefit of the doubt. I would say, though, for the last 3 weeks, I try to go on the Haas team website to get a Nico hat.
Nothing?
He's not even listed.
Oh, no.
He's not even listed. They only had K-Mag listed on the website. So I don't know.
They're a little behind the curve.
They're a little behind.
Huh?
I mean, they're downsizing their little trailer situation.
they probably
Yeah.
can't afford to buy the merch
I
yet.
think our TV is bigger than what they have to look at the race side. So
But I mean, that's kind of a smart way to cut costs and then to use it on the car for a team that doesn't have that much money. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what Red Bull should have done. Instead of being little bitches and complaining that we don't have enough time to test. Well, we'll get a smaller fucking TV.
and also stop serving food if you're going to go over the cost cap, you little bitch.
I know, hot dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
some hot dogs.
You can make hot dogs gourmet.
The way you
right?
pay those drivers, they can pick up their own food on the fucking way to the track.
That's
what are
right.
we talking about?
And I've seen when we watch the show, we know that they have chefs, and when they go in and ask, they're fucking eating toast and blueberries, and it's like it doesn't cost that much money to fucking toast and blueberries.
Yeah. Cheaters.
So they
Cheaters.
cheated. Oh, sorry, James. I know that's your team.
No.
No, you're
Well,
sleeping on the lawn.
It is my team. It is my team. But again, I have to explain myself.
Verbal.
It's because of the Honda relationship. I might switch to McLaren in a couple of years. I think 2026. Is that when they talked about?
I just don't even know if we can be married anymore. I can't believe you would say
I can
all
be
these
a
foul things.
Lando fan. He's on McLaren. No? All
It's
right.
McLaren in general. You fascist.
I might know.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Yes, I am a Red Bull fan, and you brought it up yesterday. I don't know when that happened. I really don't.
But I like how you eased it in
Yeah.
to and didn't say anything right away until somebody figured it out.
Yeah, I
You
do
were like,
appreciate
I'm
that
not
you
gonna
used
do
plenty
this.
of lube on that. That was
Yeah.
nice. That was plenty of
No
lube.
point where you were like, I'm a Red Bull fan now. You just waited until everybody was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh no, the hat I bought, it's a Checo hat.
It is
So
a
it's
Checo.
different.
Checo, it's different.
So it's good.
But it's very subtle to have it's more like an Italian color. It's like very subtle. I don't see an eagle there. I just see Italian colors. So and then eventually became like, oh yeah, that's a good. And then in Formula One game, guess who's driving Red Bull?
Hey, but again, Checo's my teammate.
I'm just saying.
So you're playing as Max Verstappen.
No, I'm playing as Filipino Kids
Interesting.
04.
Are you even Filipino? Do I even know you anymore?
Who is this man?
I don't even know who I am anymore.
Jessica, blink if you're safe. Blink if you're safe.
Mamas can only wink. She can't blink anymore.
So, Gustavo, you brought up the fact that Red Bull had to tell their drivers. to
Oh,
slow
that's
down.
right. Yeah, if you go to the onboards, there was a very interesting conversation where Max said, "Do I have to drive slower?" And the engineer told them to go to +7, which I'm assuming is a +7 tenths of a second on the car because they didn't want him to push the engine. And I do like that the Max did say, it's like, well, is Checo going to do it too? Because of course he didn't want to get caught with his pants down or, be scared. But the engineer did say, I don't want to get bored of this. Please just do it. I do appreciate that sarcasm that he used with that. And then, of course, it goes to Checo's radio, and it told him the same thing, +7. And he's like, "Are we not going to go to the fast lap?" And it's like, "No, gas, they got it with the pair of softs. No, we're not racing." Pretty much, I told them, "We're not racing. We're set."
Yeah.
Max did finish like 30+ seconds ahead of third place. So they didn't have a race. They were just Sunday drive for them.
Hosting.
They told him to slow down, which is pretty savage. And if I was the other team listening to that radio, pretty demoralizing that they told the team that you're trying to catch to slow down.
When you cheat and there's no repercussions, I guess you might as well cheat the following year too. So who knows? You can't trust them.
Only the cap will tell us when we get the receipts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Listen, caviar is expensive,
Right. Right.
AKA carbon fiber.
And the blood of their enemies must come at a price. I want to know what Verstappen eats to make his teeth look like that. He looks like he gnaws on like fucking chicken bones.
He eats the tears of little babies in third world countries who can't eat.
Oh, gosh.
Like his teeth are much.
Yeah, they put him in a bowl and they wait for them to dry, and it's like flakes. It's just like
That's what he eats.
That's what he eats. Yeah. And also, he gets beaten up by his,
Joss.
by his dad.
Do you think Joss is jealous? Do you think he ever looks at his
Oh
son and
fuck
goes,
yeah! You kidding me? Listen, those who can play coach, that's a fact. I'm sorry. I mean, there are some good coaches that never play, but
Yeah.
those who can play coach, right? His dad couldn't do shit, except for he was really good at beating up his kid. So
builds character, I guess.
builds character and made him a champion. And it was his dad's birthday last weekend when he won the race. So it's like, that's for your dad's birthday, and I'm sure his dad was very proud and didn't have to beat him that night. So yeah, no, absolutely. His dad is 100%. It's like Hamilton's dad. You can see that he's proud of him, but he's also he couldn't do it. So he was pushing his kid, and that's why they had problems because his dad was probably pushing him, want him to do what he would do.
Yeah,
It's
some other things.
It's not you. It's not you. It's me.
Jessica and I had this conversation that Mick Schumacher and Max Verstappen, their families were really close when they were kids. They would go on holiday together.
Oh,
Ooh.
look at your vernacular.
Holiday.
But they have the opposite spectrums of what their dads did in their own career. Joss didn't do well in his career. Max is doing well now, and Mick is doing shitty now.
Yeah.
And Michael Schumacher did really good. It's unfortunate that happened for Mick, but
Yeah. But and I've said this in previous podcasts, being a Mick Schumacher, like why? Why would you even go into this sport? Like make a name for yourself doing something else. Like I know it's really important, like dad's legacy, whatever, but I do think it's important to do something that they're not going to compare you. Like look at Carlos, for example. His dad was a rally driver, so he didn't go and become a rally driver. You do some type of other driving where you can excel and be your own person and be your own champion.
and even though it's not the same type of racing, they still kind of compare. It's like, oh, your dad's a world champion.
Right.
Even though it's a world champion in rally driving,
Right.
he's still a world champion. You're not.
Right. So I just think that was a poor choice on Mick. Like that was always going to be a heartbreak.
No, I think you're right. And we've seen it time and time. Michael Jordan's kids and all the big basketball players' kids, or even musicians. It's like they usually don't measure up, and that's because they're a different platform. It doesn't mean that Mick is not couldn't drive. I think he won Formula 2, right, or Formula 3, one of those. So he's a decent driver, but yeah, to get to the level, it's kind of an anomaly. I think I talked to somebody recently when it's amazing to think about that of all the sports in the world, Formula 1 has 20 drivers. There's only 20 seats. And that's it. There's no extra seat. And the only way to get a super license is to get time on a Formula 1 car. So you have to be invited to get, I mean, it's so ridiculous how hard it is to do this. And yet, yeah, when you see a name like Schumacher and his kids driving, the first thing everyone's going to think is, like, of course, it's because of the dad. So you already have a disadvantage. And yeah, it's kind of maybe unfair to him a little bit, but you're right. If you're good at Formula 2, stick with Formula 2.
Right.
Maybe go drive NASCAR. Maybe go drive Indy and win that. Be a champion in your own niche,
Right. Exactly.
What you want to do.
Exactly.
So
But
stop this charade.
I told you guys when he was first brought in, I said, he's too young. He's not going to do good. And look, wow, I'm psychic.
I think maybe you could be a good principal for Ferrari. They need some answers.
Oh, I'll give them some answers. I'll have them face down in the yard getting the shit kicked out of them for their stupidity.
Wait, the mechanics or Charles Leclerc?
All of them. Charles, because he cries after sex.
Wait, I thought that was George.
They all do. They cry together.
No, you know what? I don't think Alonso does.
No, he cries while Stroll has sex.
He makes Stroll cry on different sex. It seems like that's what's going on right now.
I don't know. Maybe they're in love. Time will tell. Maybe they're the interracial relationship we never saw coming.
This episode sponsored by the FIA. Michael Massey, Mattia, all sponsors of this episode.
Oh, the problem children. Anyways.
I do have one point I want to make, and I wore this on purpose.
America.
Logan Sargent.
If you're seeing this.
This is the first time we see, for us, an American driver in Formula 1. He didn't finish last.
No, he did not finish last.
I think he was doing pretty good in practice. He did all right in qualifier. I mean, he didn't get out of Q3, I think he was doing all right. For the first race, I want to say not bad. I would say, watching the pre-show, the camera could pan into the crowd, and the worst thing that can happen. Bunch of people.
He
yelling.
locked eyes with PK's daughter.
No, that would have been good. No, a bunch of people yelling USA, USA, USA.
Oh.
Like, that never happens.
Yeah.
You wave the flag, you do stuff.
In Bahrain?
Yeah. People were yelling like USA. And I'm like, oh my God. It's the Coors Light drinkers.
Oh, gosh.
So hopefully that won't become a trend but I feel like once it gets to Austin and Vegas and Miami, I feel like we're going to get a little too much Logan for our liking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we went to Texas, and Haas was a team, and it wasn't like that. So fingers crossed. I don't remember anybody chanting USA. I was like, what the fuck?
But the fact that in Bahrain, people were doing that, well, I think it's coming.
Oh.
And America's coming with them.
Ooh.
Well, they're owned. F1's owned by an American company, right? Liberty Media. So this is going to be an American.
By the way, the stock's doing fantastic right now.
Do you still have some?
I have that one stock.
Nice.
It was like $18, like $38 a stock. I'm like, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
All right.
all right.
Well, that was a good episode back.
Good times, guys. Good times. We'll do it again.
Sorry. I know you guys missed me. I was going through a lot. Okay. I was tired. The season was boring, but I'm back now.
We're in Jeddah for next race. That's the
Saudi Arabia.
street circuit.
It's going to be exciting.
I'm not allowed to watch that because I hate women.
Oh, no, this would be the race you would want to watch then. That's the race for you.
Well, I don't want them showing them to my door.
Yes, Formula 1 so inclusive. Except for when they...
Except in the...
I feel like that's too risky.
Yeah, sure. We'll edit that out.
Yeah, wink, wink.
I feel like they're going to be like, oh.
Formula 1, we're very inclusive unless we want to race in Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi
Yeah, because money is king.
because money is better than women. Yeah, we'll edit that out too.
I want
Clowns.
people to be like, wow. So not that this is gonna like blow up overnight, but they're gonna be like,
Clowns.
"She's racist against Saudi Arabians." I'm like, no, I just don't care.
Oh,
for
racing against
sexism.
misogynistic pigs. That's what we're doing.
Period.
Anyway,
Holding people accountable all 2023.
we are woke, goddammit.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys.
Oh, we're recording?
Oh,
Cheers.
oh.
Oh, that's awkward.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.